Hey everybody, welcome to the CJ Video Podcast. Austin Meek here with Kevin Haskin, podcasting from, I don't even know what this is. Where are we?
I think we're in the chair room.
You can't see, but there are lots of chairs just scattered around here. And then these two phones. I feel like I'm in Richard Nixon's war room here. I feel like I could launch some nukes at Iran on this phone.
And it's with this switch right here, baby. This switch.
What do we think people do in here? Is this like the interrogation room?
Well, if it's like most rooms at the Capitol Journal, they're not doing a darn thing.
The other great gem we found, the world's smallest water cooler. This is a real novelty.
Yes, it is. I'm not sure how much one of these goes for, but...
Or how long that water's been in there.
Yeah, that's a bad thing right there.
But
This used to be the radio studio of the Capitol Journal way back when Pete Goering did a 5-minute segment every day on the 580 Sports Sanity Show.
Well, there's your history, kids. Well, as you can tell, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to get a drink here and we'll wade into the podcast.
Yeah, I've already got what I need in this.
Oh man, that's not good. Well, a big week for Kansas State here. The Wildcats went on the road and got a big win at Baylor. They hold on in the final seconds. They get the defensive stop to beat Baylor. And after experiencing so many heartbreaking losses in Big 12 play, that had to feel good for K-State. Although, man, when they waved off that layup at the end and Baylor got the ball back with one more chance to win the game, you were thinking this one might be the heartbreaking loss to end all heartbreaking losses. That was really a bullet they dodged there on that last sequence.
Yeah, it was. And I was surprised. I really thought when the travel call was made, it's a little cloudy there, that Baylor would come down and make that last shot and win the ball game. The Bears don't take a timeout. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. I don't know if you really want to give Scott Drew a chance to draw something up or not. And, Jordan Enriquez, who played a good game for him, altered that last shot, and K-State comes away with a win. We'll see how it spurs any kind of momentum Tuesday in Columbia.
A lot of people saying now that's the win that puts K-State in the NCAA tournament. I'm not real sure about that. I mean, obviously the case looks a lot better today than it did before the Baylor game, but that's still assuming some things I'm not sure you can assume with a team that lost at home to Oklahoma.
Right.
There's still some work to do, I think, for K-State. Obviously, they're in a lot better shape now. What do you think needs to happen for K-State in these last 4 games to be secure about feeling like they're going to get an NCAA tournament bid?
Well, I think when you're penciling them into the tournament, you're making the assumption that K-State wins those last 3 games. And I think, they should probably be favored in those ball games. But like you say, you get swept by Oklahoma, a team that's really befuddling now, given the fact they started 10-2 and have just completely collapsed in league play and actually split with Texas Tech, which I didn't think was possible. Well, I did, because I did write that Texas Tech wouldn't get a Big 12 victory this year, so bravo, I got one right for 2012. But, I think Kansas State has to take care of business that people are expecting them to take care of, and again, that's maybe going out on a bit of a limb with this team. You never know. Honestly, it wouldn't stun me if K-State would beat Missouri tomorrow. I mean, it really wouldn't. I'd give them a 5% chance, but when you beat a team that badly in the first matchup, 75-59, you got a little bit of confidence going in there, especially coming off the Baylor win.
Yeah, I wouldn't be stunned. I'd be pretty surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty surprised K-State lost at home to Oklahoma.
Right.
And I actually thought K-State had a better chance to beat Baylor on Saturday than to go 3-0 in those last 3 games, even though they're games that on paper you'd think K-State ought to win. I'm not writing Texas A&M down as a win on the road.
No.
I'm not writing Iowa State at home. I'm not writing that down as a win, but K-State probably should be favored in those games, and K-State's played well in February under Frank Martin. So if they can go 3-1 down the stretch, they'll be in really good shape for the NCAA tournament. looking probably 7, 8 seed, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, and particularly if K-State gets a win in the Big 12 tournament too. I mean, we'll see what kind of draw it gets and what kind of seed, but win a game in Kansas City, and that could, I don't know if it necessarily would improve their NCAA seed at that point, but give them a little more confidence going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, an interesting thing we'll probably talk about more later is the different format on the Big 12 tournament this year. For a team in K-State's spot, they're hovering right around 5th, 6th in the league, so they're probably going to play a pretty good team in their first Big 12 tournament game. They're not going to get a warm-up against somebody, so you kind of want to have your body of work in place by the time you go to Kansas City, but K-State certainly got a good start with that. It was a pretty quiet week for Kansas after the Sunflower Showdown. They played Texas Tech at home. I didn't see the game. I've read that Billy Gillispie compared his team to Seabiscuit. I haven't seen them. Does Seabiscuit die in the end? I don't really know.
No, and Seabiscuit beat War Admiral.
Yeah, that was where it broke down for me.
Yeah, I didn't get that except for Seabiscuit being small and Texas Tech, I guess, maybe a little smaller inside. But, I didn't get the analogy completely either. Billy is a big horse racing fan, and maybe he got his thoroughbreds a little mixed up, but he certainly doesn't have one in the team that he fields at Texas Tech.
Yeah. Well, a pretty uneventful week for KU last week, but a very eventful week coming up this week. They got to go play at Texas A&M, and that's probably not a total gimme. I mean, Texas A&M played with KU in Lawrence, and it's a team that hasn't won a ton of games, but seems to slow the game down and kind of hang around with a lot of people. And then you've got Missouri hanging out there on Saturday. Can Texas A&M give KU a game?
Well, Texas A&M is getting healthier, but I say that because it seems like anytime I read anything, well, Dash Harris is all set to be back, and yet this guy, for a guy named Dash, he sure doesn't heal very fast from this foot injury that he has. Chris Middleton is back, had his best game in a while this past Saturday for A&M, so that was probably encouraging for them. He scored 15, I think, in that game, so they've got a little bit more firepower, but it's having to integrate these guys back into the system now that presents a challenge for Billy Kennedy after he kind of had to juggle guys around, play them a little bit out of position. Elston Turner's been their big shooter, and A&M knows how to dictate pace. It did that the first time against KU in a low-scoring game. I think it was 64-54. So, A&M knows how to do that. Should be able to accomplish that at home a little easier even than on the road.
We're in the heat of the conference race right now, so these are the games playing.
Hot room too.
Yeah, we're in the heat of the Capitals room. But these are the kind of games at Texas A&M. KU goes to Oklahoma State next week, right after that Missouri game. I mean, those are the kind of games you got to win, to keep pace in the conference race. And we may be back to do another one of these podcasts before the border war, depending on whether I die from drinking that water. But real quick, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Missouri at Kansas on Saturday?
The excitement is building, but I do want to see Missouri before then, though. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow in Columbia and seeing that game against Kansas State and catching the Tigers at home. It'd be the first time I've seen them this season, so I really appreciate what Frank Haith has done and how those guards play, and they knock down shots and seem to get open.
Hey, Earl said something nice about Missouri. Write that down.
Yes.
Remember that, because you will not hear that again. All right, well, hey, thanks for checking out the video podcast again. We'll be back later to discuss more sports and show you another remote part of this building. So, thanks for watching.
See ya.